I don't know. Like my mom's vegan, so
Mm-hmm.
but she's not gonna stop her kids from being vegan. I mean, she's not gonna make her kids go vegan because she tried that and it didn't work.
Can I
And
ask,
so
Yeah.
just to make the conversation easier, what does veganism mean to your mom?
just a strict diet of like non-animal based products. And funnily, like, so it's probably not the way you define it, whereas it's more of like a
Like a
like
proprietary definition.
there's the moral part of it. Yeah. But in terms of like diet, strictly like vegan diet, she's been on that for like 12 years now. And it's always she's fine with it. But like she misses meat, but she's fine with being vegan.
Okay, so you haven't made the choice to stop exploiting animals yourself. Do you know why that might be, or is it something you haven't considered?
Um nah, just I probably does not affect me in that kind of mindset as strongly in terms of
Mm-hmm. Have
specifics.
who do you eat?
Who do I eat?
Yeah, who would you eat?
Who would I eat?
Yeah, like animals. Like who would you eat? Like a cow, like a pig, or
Um, I mean, sure, if it's presented and made for me. I've had it before. I eat steak, pork.
oh
Like
pigs? Yeah.
what the regular consensus would be for like considered food. I've tried it. I'm not someone who's picky, but I'm
So
not
you
someone who's extremely. But I'm not like an extreme like meat lover either. Like if I find another option, yeah, I'll try something else.
okay? So just to be clear, you'd eat a dog as well if they were presented to you, because people eat them.
Um, I mean, maybe if I was starving and dying
Well,
of
hang on.
hunger.
Sorry. A lot of the time people move goalposts when they're asked questions, and it does get a bit irritating quite quickly. I didn't ask if if you were starving or anything. Like obviously when it's presented to you, you're not in this starving situation, right? So I'm not asking like that, am I?
Right, of course.
Would you just eat a dog? If someone presents you a dog and you're like, yeah, I'll eat them. Would you do that or no?
I don't know. I don't know. I really haven't given it much thought.
Okay.
I
So
like
yeah.
dogs. I love dogs. I've owned dogs, but like to eat one would be a little weird from my brain in that terms of like, oh, this is something I treat like a family member. I guess my thing is like I wouldn't eat a carnivore. I'm not entirely comfortable eating carnivores, and
Do
I
you
guess
eat?
a dog is one. So I'm hmm,
Hang on, hang on. Dogs aren't carnivores, but do
do
you
they eat?
mean?
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure they're
No,
omnivorous.
they have
the
canine teeth.
omnivores. Omnivores. No,
Maybe
Yeah,
no,
they're
no,
no,
no.
no. We
omnivore
have
because they.
Wait,
they're
hang on, hang
omnivores.
on.
Yeah, they do.
Just to be clear, Edgelord, hippos have canines. They're not carnivores. Like many animals have canines, even like apes have canines. They're not carnivores.
Right.
Yeah, it
Well, yes, they're not carnivores,
a
but a lot of
feeder
these
mammalian.
animals. Sorry.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
well,
just like a mammalian thing. It's not a carnivore or herbivore thing. Just all mammals have teeth. Like literally, horses have like canine teeth.
Do they have canine teeth?
Yeah, like just like Google horses canine teeth, and they're farther back because like horses have like a gap, but they do have like canine teeth inside.
and also,
Yeah.
would you eat
I guess a lot of.
would you eat a tuna?
Mhm.
Would you eat a tuna?
A tuna?
Yeah.
Um, have I eaten tuna? I don't know if I've eaten tuna before. It's not. It's. I don't know.
Would you be against it?
I probably would.
You
I
probably
would not be
would.
against it.
Do-
If
They're,
someone.
yeah, they're
Hmm?
carnivores. I'm pretty sure they're carnivores.
They're carnivores?
Yeah.
Oh.
And actually, a
Shouldn't they
lot of
be
the
omnivores?
a lot of the animals who you do eat, pigs, by the way, even though they are fed grains, they are omnivores. Chickens are omnivores.
Yes.
They're not fed that way though. So you already consume animals who are not primary consumers.
I guess when I mean carnivore, I don't mean like like something that eats solely meat, but something where their primary diet is meat.
Why is that distinction something that you draw?
Um, because like when you think if like okay, for example, there's a dog that comes around here like a street dog, and I've seen him eat grass before, but I'm that's most of I've read that like dogs eat grass because of like sometimes they have stomach problems and sometimes they just eat grass. But I bet you 9 times out of 10, if I presented the same dog with a bowl of broccoli and like I don't know some pineapple sauce on top, just some vegetarian stuff, and then a bowl full of bacon bits, I, I'm willing to bet he would choose the bowl of bacon
Yeah,
bits.
wait, Edgelord,
Sorry,
hang
that
on. Hang
sounds
on.
like a
Yeah,
very
hang on.
interesting story, but
I-
what the heck does that have to do?
What does that have to do with the question? Yeah. What? I didn't want to cut you off because I wanted to hear you out and thought you'd get to answering the question, but
Well, I'm
you
saying
didn't.
that dogs are they're not
No,
obviously
Edge, hang on,
solely
Edge.
carnivores.
Wait.
But
No, stop. Do you remember what I asked you?
tell me again.
Yeah, why do you draw that distinction? I didn't ask if how many animals they eat, what their diet consists of, like what their preference would be. I'm not asking you to make an argument for that. I'm asking you why you draw the distinction that it would be weird for you to
Well, I was
consume those
getting
animals.
to that. I was saying
Can you
like
can
the
you can you
distinction
just
between
yeah.
carnivore and omnivore.
Yeah, no, I don't need to know. We're not talking
Yeah.
about that right now. I'm trying to figure out your values right now. I don't really want to have a conversation about carnivory or anything like that. I'm just trying to figure out, like, I asked you a question. If you don't want to answer it, that's fine. But, like, will you answer the question?
Yeah,
Cool.
why I make a distinction between carnivore and omnivore. Well,
No.
I guess because of
No.
no, that
No.
wasn't the question.
No. I'll ask again. Why do you make a decision? You said the reason we've got here is because you said I'd find it weird to eat a carnivorous animal. And then we understood that when you meant carnivore, you just mean an animal who eats animals, right? A lot of them. Yeah?
I guess I probably didn't define it clearly.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that doesn't. That was not the question that I was asking. I was asking why it would then be weird for you to eat an animal who eats lots of animals. Because you said you wouldn't eat a dog because it'd kind of be weird because you took them to be carnivores. So I'm asking why that would be weird for you and you draw that distinction.
Because we do the same.
Pardon?
We do this. Well, humanity does the same. They hunt things. And dogs also hunt things.
Edgelord, I actually do not know. Right. Okay. So say for example, I have a dog in a room. Okay. And we were just going to go for a different angle because I don't think we're understanding each other at all. If I say, look, I am going to kick the shit out of this dog. I'm just going to keep kicking them. Would you find that wrong? Morally?
I would probably stop you physically.
Okay, so what I'm taking from that is you would find that wrong morally, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Would you find it wrong if I killed them really quickly so I could eat them?
Oh yeah, it doesn't really seem necessary.
Okay, so it would be wrong on the basis to you that it wasn't necessary, and by that I take it you mean I didn't need to do it in order to eat or something?
Yeah.
Okay.
You didn't need to make the dog hurt and kill it, or kill it even quickly.
Yeah.
Without suffering, just to eat it if there's food in the fridge, like other kinds of foods you eat. Like
Okay,
if you were,
based.
I guess in this scenario, you're carnivore. If there's steak in the fridge, there's steak in the fridge. Don't eat the dog.
Oh, whoa, wait then. What's the morally significant difference between a dog and a cow?
There's no. I'm just saying in this scenario, there's already food in the fridge, steak or whatever. People, if in this scenario, you're already planning to eat a dog. So I'm
Yeah,
imagining
okay.
in
So
this scenario,
hang on.
whatever.
That scenario is you right now. It's me right now, isn't it? We don't need to have a cow in the fridge. I could just have plant-based food in the fridge. So what is the morally significant difference between the dog and the cow by which you'd find it morally wrong for me to kill that dog even quickly because I didn't need to in order to survive, that isn't also applicable to the cow?
Well, I wouldn't say, I don't know about moral, but
Yeah,
like,
wait. Hang on. We are just talking about,
like
this is ethics.
you would
Yeah.
normally. Okay, ethics.
Yeah, so it's just the system,
Let's
it's
say the
just
same.
within
Let's
this
say for
domain.
the sake of argument. Let's say for the sake of argument. I'm just gonna say for the sake of argument. Let's say it wasn't a dog and it was a
No.
chicken and it was your pet chicken that you had for all these years and you decided to kill. I would consider that also wrong because you already considered that person a part of your family.
Okay, Edgelord, we
And
can
then
deal
you
with the
decided to
family.
kill it.
We can deal with the family aspect in a moment. I'd just like an answer to my question. The morally significant difference between the cow and the dog.
There's no moral significant difference.
Okay. Based. Do you know what that then means?
It's all that we're all living creatures. We are
Sentient.
all we're all living beings.
Yeah, you want to be
Sentient.
careful because
There are a
sentient
few-
bit. Yeah. Well, that's based. Do you know what that then means, Edgelord?
What?
You are morally compelled to go vegan.
Oh.
Because
How quaint.
otherwise you are partaking in an action that, if led to its moral conclusion, would mean that you would be morally justified in condemning dogs to the exact same fate.
Right.
And let's take it a step further, okay? Human context. We are animals as well. What's the morally significant difference between me and a dog and a cow that would justify bolt gunning one in the head but not the other?
Well, one of them would take me to jail for sure.
You want to be careful because obviously I don't think you believe legality is the same as morality. I believe that you probably think, correct me if I'm wrong,
No.
that legality follows the morals, right?
Usually.
Usually, you would hope, but yeah,
You're hoping. Yes.
Okay, so yeah, what would be the morally significant difference, not the legally significant difference? Just the we're in the world of ethics right now, and your preferences.
The moral between like killing a human as opposed to a cow or a dog.
Yeah, like what would because just say for example, like I say, like if it just makes it clearer, you could put individuals in a vacuum or things in a vacuum, right? Objects in space. You have a table, you have a human, you have a dog, right? What's the morally significant difference between the table, the human, and the dog that would justify punching one but not the other, or shooting one but not the other? Well, the morally significant difference in the table context is they're not sentient, right?
Right.
Yeah, that one's easy. But then it starts getting a bit more difficult when you are posed with the vegan dilemma, and then you're not vegan. This was me. It's like, oh god, there's then got to be something that would make it okay for me to do it to a cow, but not to a dog, not to a human. And I can't find it.
I mean, aside from like probably the way we all think, like that is a really strong, like, and that's not even a real, I feel like isn't the most genuine argument, because like I would, like, if we're basing it off like, oh, I wouldn't eat something that's like a human or thinks like a human, like I don't know what a dog is thinking half the time.
And you don't actually know what humans thinking half the time. It's actually funny because Postmortem and I the other day were talking about counterfactuals. Do you know what that means?
No.
I'm going to completely butcher it, but a counterfactual is like, it's where you kind of invent like a what if, you know, what if I had this possible world where I didn't take X action? And I do that in my brain all the time for everything. Turns out a lot of people don't do that. And so actually I thought I knew exactly what people were thinking. So when I saw them taking an action, like putting their hand in the supermarket and picking up the corpse, I thought they were thinking, oh, what would happen if I took the tofu or the seitan instead? Like, but some people don't do that. So yeah, you don't want to go down that line because people are having a completely different, seemingly, experience from you. Some people have synesthesia. Yeah. They can, have all these sorts of things going on, but they just see the world completely differently. So yeah, you don't want to go down that route. Definitely not.
Right. That's just how we think, I guess. We're always trying to think, what is that thing thinking?
Yeah. When actually, obviously we can't access the mind. And postmortems, I don't know if you can see their stream, but they've got the two possible worlds here. That's a counterfactual. So a lot of the time we ask people, you have possible world A, where all these animals are being sent to slaughterhouses or taken around the back of sheds and shot in the head or having their throats slit so that we can have a burger out of them. Or we have possible world B, where you can have the burgers. Trust me, I make burgers probably 3 times a week without doing that to animals and just have like some sort of plant-based alternative, right? And we ask people which world they would prefer. Do you have a preference?
If I have a preference,
yeah, which
because
world?
My preference is not based on like, well, I don't know.
wait. Possible world A, all these animals.
Okay, what is your question? Okay.
Yeah, sorry. So you got 2 possible worlds. Meats. Yeah. So can you see VPM's their stream bit? It might be helpful to visualize.
Yeah.
Okay, so you have the 2 possible worlds there that they've got. There's one where animals that they've put, we exploit and slaughter animals for unnecessary stuff. You could just say like a burger or something like that. And then we have possible world B where we don't. Like which world would you prefer?
This feels like very simplistic. That I feel like an answer would be really. This feels like 2 very simple ideas of 2 very different worlds.
Yep.
Where I'm probably where I have reasons to pick both world. Like I have a quantity of reasons to pick world A as well as world B.
Well, hang on. You can't.
Moral.
Which one seems more to the eye of humanity? Probably
no, to you.
B. Because we don't want to take the responsibility for killing something.
Edgelord, just to be clear. Edgelord, hang on, just to be clear. We're talking about you, not the rest of humanity. What world would be more moral in your view?
More moral? Neither.
Yeah.
Because you're forcing people to eat one or the other.
Oh, wait. So hang on. We've got possible world A, where dogs are exploited and slaughtered for unnecessary stuff. Or possible world B, they're not. Which one's more moral?
When you say well, you're saying for unnecessary. Well, if you're saying for unnecessary stuff, then I would say world B.
Yep.
If
okay,
we're specifically saying unnecessary stuff, but.
Hang on though, Edge. Right, wait. Before we go to the unnecessary, because apparently then we need to go here, because beforehand, when I talked about the dog killing and eating, you said it wasn't necessary and I could have other food, and now here you could answer the question that it would be more moral, but then you struggled when it came to the other animals, and you said, well, I don't know, because that'd be restricting the freedom of people, correct? Isn't world A in this context? Is just a question? Isn't world A in that context restricting people from eating dogs?
World A is probably restricting people from eating dogs, but I'm also under the impression that World A is restricting people from eating any animal products altogether.
That's not even
Maybe that's
in.
not.
It's not in the. It's not in the possible. No, you don't even need to assume
No?
that. The
Okay,
only
then World B.
difference. Okay, so you care about the fact that people are restricted when it comes to other animals. So they're restricted from
I care if
exploiting
living
them.
things are restricted from things that they desire to eat. Yes, but I'm
But
also
you said
caring
okay.
if something just
So
gets
Edgelord,
killed and left for dead. Obviously, that's wrong.
let's just note then that because you've already said there's no morally significant difference between dogs and cows and other animals, that would then entail a view where someone has the freedom to kill and eat you because they have a desire.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
if they want to, if they want to try to kill and eat me, you know, they can.
Well, if it were trait
I'll fight
adjusted,
them,
if it were trait
'cause I want to
adjusted,
live.
if the outcomes were adjusted, you wouldn't have a choice. You would be farmed and enslaved. That's what we do to these dogs and other animals, right?
I don't think we farm dogs in mass production to kill.
They are
farmed
to this day in countries like Vietnam. There's a Yulin dog meat festival in China.
Okay.
I mean,
how
you don't
many?
have to
How
go
many?
that far. You don't have to go that far. They're farmed in the UK to undergo like animal testing.
Yep. We literally have a facility. I could drive 2 hours and I'd be at a facility that sells beagles to be tested on, or I can go up the road and they breed dogs to race and then they shoot them when they can't walk anymore. So and they drug them with things like cocaine. So we're doing horrifically exploitative stuff to dogs even in the UK and in other countries where they're not farmed to be eaten.
They're giving dogs cocaine in the UK.
Yeah, it's like
in modern day.
Yeah, it's known that they are drugged, even with things like cocaine. But the point is, they are exploited.
I would have to look more into that.
And
that
in
is interesting.
In that instance, right? Do you care more about the well-being and the rights of those dogs, or do you care more about the freedom of someone to enact what they desire?
Probably the first option.
Okay, so
Most likely, because a lot of the times people just want stupid things, and they'll just
they do like to violate the rights of other sentient beings who, by the way you said beforehand, there's no morally significant difference between them and us. So shouldn't it follow that you care in your preferences more about the basic negative rights of a given being more than you do their desires?
Probably, yeah.
Yeah, it would then follow you've got to...
Of course.
Yeah. So when before you were concerned about the possible world B, whereby those animals' basic negative rights are being respected, but it does mean people can't enact their desires to go slaughter these animals and turn them into burgers, or race them, or test on them. Actually, you should be focusing then in your own view on the basic negative rights of those animals, rather than the desire of the human to enact rights violations.
Yeah.
But I'll let you sit with that one.
What do you define as rights violations?
We can move on to the unnecessary component, or rights violation.
Yeah.
I just
or whatever you want.
I'll just quickly say
more productive conversations.
No, I'll just quickly say rights violations. I'm like a threshold deontologist. I just believe in intrinsic rights for an individual. And when I'm talking about negatives, I just basically mean the right not to be harmed, or the right not to be stabbed, stuff like that. So I just believe that intrinsically a given sentient being, like a subject, has these I don't know how else to call them, but rights, just to be left be, or to be looked after, whatever that might be in that given context. But I don't really know how else to explain it. I hope that helps.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah,
it.
so we'll move on to because I don't want you coming away thinking, because this is a false belief, that this stuff is necessary for survival. And that's why Postmortem rightfully was trying to, bring that up, that when you're saying the word necessary, it seems like you believe to a degree that you require like the flesh or maybe the secretions of these animals. Is that the case?
Well, I do have a craving for meat, if that is what you're asking.
Yeah, no, I'm asking if you
It's very
require it.
natural
So,
because I've grown up like that.
yeah, say for
Do I
example,
require meat?
yeah, that's what I'm asking. So, for example, you require specific nutrients, like you may require B12, you may require vitamin C, you may require water.
Right.
You know, otherwise you'll die, or there'll be such bad health outcomes that one could say, yes, I require this.
Right.
Yeah. Do you hold the belief that you require then the flesh or secretions of animals?
I require the nutrients that it provides me, likely.
Yeah. So do you acknowledge that
Because
you
I do
can?
have supplements for B12 and B whatever's. I have bottles of like different types of vitamins for stuff I don't have, like vitamin D, vitamin 12. I mean B12.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, just
So
sounds like you don't need the flesh to require
Right.
those nutrients, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you can acquire
I don't
these
know. Yeah.
nutrients
I
either
don't.
through.
So I'm not
Yeah,
out
yeah, yeah. Hold on.
constantly looking for. Go on.
Yeah, just give me a second. Let me cook for a second. So you can either take those nutrients, get those nutrients from the flesh of an animal who was bred, exploited, and stabbed to death, or you can like take a pill. So which one do you think is more moral?
Neither at that point, because they're both at that point the animal is already dead. It's already become vitamins
Do you know what
and
the
it's been
supply and
cooked.
demand is?
Yes, I know what supply and
Yeah,
demand is.
yeah. So when you demand it,
I've taken social studies.
supply increases, right? So like if you buy flesh in the supermarket, or somebody else buys it for you and puts it in your fridge, right? So the next animal is stabbed, and that's because of you.
Well, it's not because of me, it's because of me and millions of other people who went and bought
Yeah,
the
sure.
same product.
Yeah, it's because of you and others, right? So like, does that change your answer on the morality of taking flesh of a stabbed animal or taking a pill for the same nutrition?
Well, see, the thing is, I don't know where the B12 is coming from either. How do I know the B12 is coming from a plant that has B12 and not an animal that has B12?
It will say
Yeah,
certified
it comes
vegan on
from
Or
it.
that it was made in a lab
Yeah, it comes
or a
from
control.
bacteria. It was made in a lab. It comes from bacteria. They put a bunch of bacteria. That bacteria secretes B12. They isolate the B12, and you get it.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what about the bacteria?
What about them?
Would you? And there's, and then I'm
Oh
not trying to
no.
be disingenuous
Yeah,
on
yeah, no
this.
problem,
No,
no
you could.
problem.
Okay.
I'm here to
I
listen.
mean, but do you consider that to some level like not the same exact level, but to some level as like exploiting a living thing? Or
No, well,
do
with
you
bacteria,
consider that? And
yeah,
they're more
here's the thing.
like
Yeah,
plants in that regard, correct?
well, the like, yeah, kind of. The living beings, right? They are like a single cell organisms that don't have sentience. So, like, if you're considering, whoa, what does the dog think? That question doesn't even apply to bacteria because you know they don't think anything for sure, for sure.
How do I know they don't think anything? Maybe they think,
Oh, that's
maybe they don't
yeah, we
think like
know.
us, obviously, but
No, no, no,
they don't have a
no. We
response
know. We
system.
know. Yeah, generally speaking, we know what organisms are able to have consciousness and thoughts and stuff like that, and which don't. Right? We know that dogs, pigs, chickens, fish are capable of consciousness, from which thought arises, and bacteria aren't. They don't have like the certain structures that
They don't
can
have a
like
brain,
generate thought.
but they do have stimuli, correct?
Well, they don't have the stimuli. I don't know what that means if they have stimuli. It's a
Like a
single cell
response, like
organism.
if a bacteria
Mhm.
gets harmed in some way, do they not respond to it? If they not see
Um,
their own food, do they not respond to it?
I mean, sure, but like my phone responds to me, right? When I like slightly touch the screen, it responds
Yeah,
to
your
me.
phone's not a
The
living
fact,
thing.
yeah, so it doesn't matter. Like it's like an example. We know that
Right.
bacteria can like maybe can respond to some stuff, but like I don't know why that matters. They're not an individual. There's no consciousness there. The way there is no
Well,
consciousness in plants, you know?
see, that's an interesting line of thought because
Hmm.
if plants are not conscious, then how do you
Hmm.
define it to be living too?
Well, those are like two different questions. So the
Those
question
are two
of a
different questions.
life, yeah, the question of life and question of consciousness are two different things. A thing can be not alive. A thing can be alive but not conscious, and a thing can be alive and conscious.
And
And
conscious would be
sometime
the
in the future,
self-awareness, correct? Or would it be,
it
is it
depends how
more
you
complex than
define.
that?
Yeah, it depends how you define self-awareness. So like scientifically they define like scientists define self-awareness as like somebody who can recognize themselves in the mirror, but like you know like a dog, they like if you like touch them in a certain way and they don't like it, they experience that. So I would call that like self-awareness, but I don't know, like it depends on what you mean,
Well,
right?
I
Like
mean that's a
yeah.
response. If you like if someone punches me, that's and I get angry and hit them back, that's not because of my consciousness, that's because of my response to the pain and the feeling I got from that pain.
Mhm. Yeah, so yeah, you are right, is correct in saying that like both can respond in certain way, right? But there is a difference between like plant response and an animal response, or like a sentient animal response. So I'll show you like if you're still watching, I'll show you this like little video that I play to people. So like this plant, it can respond to stimuli, right? Like you touch it, you caress it, right? It
Mhm.
like closes down. And in a second, you'll see that this plant is being burned down as well. And it responds the same way, right? That's not how animals respond. So you have like animals, like they can respond to like pain, right? So they respond different to pain.
Their
And
response
like
is emotional.
yeah. Yeah, yeah, no, not necessarily. It's not emotional. It's feelings. It's a matter of feelings, and like response different to pleasure. But the biggest thing is right that sometimes something that is pleasurable to one animal is like not pleasurable to another, and that's just like that's how sentience works. Like you can have you respond differently to different stimuli, and also between individuals that respond differently to the same stimuli. For instance, there are people who love hugs, right? But if you like come to vegan gays, for instance, and you try to hug them, they're not necessarily going to respond in the same way that I respond to a hug, right?
Hmm.
Yeah. So that's sentience, right? And you know, like some dogs love belly rubs, other dogs don't love
That's
belly rubs.
sentience.
Yeah. You know
Now,
what sentience
what's the
is?
definition of sentience then?
Sure. Give me a sec. I have this like tool that I use often. So sentience is like the ability to be conscious. It basically is like this physical structure that most animals have, some animals don't have, and you know there is the difference. So it's basically like the brain and the spinal cord, and I recently discovered they also should be connected because some animals have both, but they're not connected, and therefore it's not like a central nervous system. They're not there is no like feedback loop, and then you have like the senses, specifically the five senses here, and like so the creature feels something, and then that feeling goes through the nervous system into that brain, and then the brain like interprets that and like spits out a response. So if I put my finger into fire, the response is immediate to go, ouch, I'm hurt. This like something bad is going on, right? Like even if I'm a child, that happens. So like plants don't have that. Certain animals don't have that, although it's more of a question mark there because all animals are basically on the cellular level capable of sentience. but they aren't necessarily sentient. There are like other stuff that's happening biologically.
Hmm. Yeah, I know
Yeah,
there
you
was
need
like a
to.
fish that like otters eat and they just don't feel. Actually, no, that's because of something else. Never mind.
Yeah.
Essentially, I think we've boiled down. You understand that they are indeed having an experience, and we've established that you don't see a morally significant difference between these sentient individuals, such as a human and a dog, and
The
the
only
other
real
ones.
difference between a human and, like, let's say my cat is that I can explain my cat like calculus, and my cat will lick itself and not care.
Well, you got to be careful with that one though, because that's not applicable to all human beings. There are going to be human beings you might not
Yes,
meet them
but
who
human
aren't going to.
beings, as in the form that we've basically selected ourselves over the past like millions of years, have basically been trying to achieve the goal of like a higher mind. So we human beings have the capability. It's in our code
Not all
to
human
No,
beings.
be.
yeah, some humans,
Not
some
all
humans.
human beings are
Yeah, there you go.
capable of. That's
Yeah,
not
so
what I
would it
mean.
be okay to
In,
like, yeah, the question would be like, would it be okay to those human beings that don't have that capability to understand calculus and like not much else at all? Would it be okay to farm them for unnecessary burgers?
um, no,
No,
not
and
really.
let's
Yeah.
be clear. Let's be clear.
I mean, but that's
We
such a
we've
vague. Like, I don't even know what
well,
you're
hang on.
asking there.
Yeah, well, the thing is, right? Say for example, these animals, like the chicken, they have been selectively bred, and their ancestor is the jungle fowl. And we've selectively bred traits into them that we desire so that we can get more food from them. They can't even carry the weight of their own bodies the way we've bred broiler chickens. So we could just selectively, if you take this view that, say for example, there are humans who maybe have something like a FOXP2 deletion, or they have some sort of trait that is different, whereby we could selectively breed these humans and we could farm them and turn them into burgers, you would be then condemned to keep that view that would be justified because they can't do calculus and they don't have the capacity. We've bred them a specific way. That's their purpose. All these things people say about those animals who can't do calculus.
Yeah, well, no, I think that would be people probably don't see it that same exact way.
I know, but they
Because
should see it. They should see the logical extension of their view. If they're going to make claims about non-human animals, but then not apply them consistently, then their entire worldview, like how can I take anything they say to be the case? It's just
it
like,
would be just like contradictory. They're making
Yeah.
category errors all the time. Humans are not as logical as we thought they were.
no. And as you said, we're trying
No,
to
we're
be
just
higher.
animals.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. And you said, oh well, we're trying to be higher beings, right?
Well, we should fucking do it.
Yeah, a good way
Be
to
higher
start.
beings.
Here's the thing,
You know?
is that people are stubborn. People are very stubborn.
Wait,
If they want
well,
to slaughter millions of animals in a produced
Yeah, what about
mass,
you, though?
just
yeah,
fight
I've
no
heard
one.
this. I've heard this a
Despite me.
lot. Yeah.
Yeah.
When we hear this a lot of the time, what
Um,
people mean is they're stubborn. Do you mean you're stubborn?
Am I stubborn? I don't know.
In
I'm
this
stubborn about
essence.
things. I'm maybe stubborn
Yeah.
about very specific things. I don't believe in the mass mass just killing of all these animals, millions on like a daily basis, because a lot of it goes to waste, and a
Well,
lot
hang
of it
on.
is just very
Hang on, Edgelord. Let's be clear. From what I took you to actually believe, like 20 minutes ago, even if I shot a dog quickly around the back of a shed, you would take that to be wrong because it wouldn't be necessary for me to do. So it wouldn't be how many
because
dogs
we have
I've
an
killed.
abundance of it.
Abundance of what? Sorry.
We already have an abundance of food.
Yeah, like plant-based food.
That killing your own dog.
Oh
who
no,
you
hang
probably
on. Just to be
consider-
clear, I didn't mean my own dog. I just meant like a dog who I've
Oh.
bred to eat.
that you bred to. Yeah, but that dog still loves you.
Yeah, the chicken still loves the homesteader who feeds them. And maybe the dog doesn't necessarily love me. They might not like me very much. They might actually get a bit grumpy and not like being touched and growl a bit. Would it be justified for me to shoot them after I've bought them and fed them for a while?
At you?
No, not even necessarily. Just gives me a bit of a growl because they don't want me to touch them, which I think is fair enough. I'd growl at you if you tried to touch me, and I didn't. Wouldn't mean you could shoot me.
But are you shooting it just to eat it, or are you shooting it just to shoot it?
I'm shooting them exactly as I would if I were non-vegan, a chicken, so I could eat them. Yeah.
And there's no other animals around or food around that you can eat.
Well, why are we asking that?
Plants.
Just to be clear, it's the same scenario as literally now. Instead of a chicken, they're a dog.
Yeah, but okay. But if I'm gonna look at it from like a not maybe less moral but more objective standpoint, a dog does not have enough nutrients to provide.
Whoa, what's the evidence for that?
Yeah, what's the evidence for that?
What's the evidence for that?
Yeah, what's the nutrient breakdown of a dog versus? And we're gonna have to be specific. Do you mean a Chihuahua? Do you mean a Labrador? What if I make Labrador steaks? I'm gonna get a lot of calories. What if they're like a Rottweiler?
Yeah,
they're really big. I'd actually
like a cow.
No. Edgelord. Come on, we've been talking for like 42 minutes, and I get a bit frustrated because I haven't talked about cows. I've just given you the two situations. The chicken. I've taken the chicken out. And you're fine with me killing the chicken to eat them. The same situation, only the dog, I bought them to feed them for a little bit, just like I would the chicken, breed them and kill them, and then you're saying, oh, well, they don't have enough nutrients, but they'd have surely more calories in them than a chicken.
Yeah, but I'm not just looking for calories in food.
Okay, so can you show? You said they don't have enough like nutrition or whatever. Can you show me the breakdown of say a Rottweiler?
I'm probably that's probably just a bullshit for me because I don't don't have the facts of how much protein a Chihuahua has.
And then what do you say? Like this Yeah, this is one of the problems, right? People just like say shit in like to justify exploiting and slaughtering animals for unnecessary stuff.
But that's not me as a justification. That's me looking at like the rest of the world and saying like, is there a reason that people are more prone to eat?
We can move on from it, but like I want you to hold on. Edgelord. Hold on. Yeah. Right, we can move on from it, but like in a second, right now, like I really need you to be like more honest. Why did you say that if you don't have evidence for it?
Because I don't think that something like that would have enough nutrients to provide me.
What are you basing that on, right? Like, it's this obviously like knowledge-based. Otherwise, why would you even say such a thing? Where are you getting this information to think about it?
I guess from my own experience. In reality, it's just me thinking.
Did you ever shoot a dog and check their flesh for like nutrition?
No, but I'm looking at a dog right now, and I don't think I would probably eat. I don't think I would eat it because it is skinny.
Well, that's not the question. The question was, you made the claim that there is not like enough nutrition, or there is like some kind of a different nutrition in a dog, and like, no, you made the claim there is not enough nutrition. What are you basing that on? Right now, I just want to fix your brain from making this mistake of just like pulling shit out of your ass and thinking that you said something significant.
And we just made the observation.
I didn't say anything significant.
Well, that's the thing,
tell me
right?
If I'm wrong.
Well, the thing is,
I want to know if I'm wrong.
The thing is, you don't know, but you said it anyway, right? You said, well, you won't be able to get like enough nutrients.
People do that.
Yeah, well, hang on. See, right, this is the observation that I want to make, what PM sees as well. Like, we notice people come in, they have this belief, look, I want to carry on doing what I'm doing. So there's all this stuff that happens, all this, I call it just ding-dong dancing, okay? Where it's like, oh, I'm just going to throw stuff out there. And I did notice you did say, look, I think I'm just bullshitting, which was a real moment where you peeled back and showed us the inside of your brain. And I just wanted to
self.
I just wanted to recognize that there's defensive mechanisms happening here.
It's not more defensive as much as it is like me thinking like there's a reason I probably eat a like people eat a burger as opposed to like a dog in most countries. Maybe in some countries they really love to eat dogs and cats, but 90% of the time it's usually animals that they feed till they're plump.
Well, the
And
thing
then
is,
they-
yeah, that we need to fix that. If we want to become a higher being, though, what you're talking about here is a lot of people just engage in social norms, and that is the case. They don't think about them, they just do them. But then that means that really bad shit happens to sentient beings, because if it just becomes a norm in your society...
Oh, yeah, and that's not going to stop. That wheel is always turning. Like, every time we use AI, we're just killing fish in the ocean because we eat up all the water.
But do you know why
doesn't
it
change it.
won't stop? Because people... Because people will
we all
appeal
move in
to
the
the...
masses.
Exactly. And you know what we do? We use the masses as an excuse to not change our behavior, which, you know, every time I've asked you, not every time, but a lot of the times I've asked you a specific question about your behavior, you've then spoken about other people or the masses or the norms. So if we'd like that to change, then we have to individually, the individuals who make the masses, step outside of it and not appeal to it.
I'm so sorry to intervene. I have a live stream in about 4 minutes, so I'm gonna head out. All right, see ya.
See you in a bit, PM. But yeah, no, it's just fascinating because obviously I try and get... Oh, sorry, you're echoing.
You're good. Sorry.
Yeah, I could just hear myself. That's fine. It has been a while, but I just want to say I think it's a precious moment when we can have a conversation. I find it precious anyway, when I can have a conversation and then I realize I'm just like absolutely bullshitting, and then I'm like, whoa, why am I bullshitting right now? I'm above this, surely. And then when I say defensive,
it wasn't me completely bullshitting. It was just me when that specific thing. Yeah. And I think it's because I think that my perception of what should be eaten and should not be eaten is not based on the mental capacity of an individual creature as much as it is its purpose in its biological system and how much it provides. If like, as opposed to one thing and another thing having more nutrients, as opposed to one thing and another thing, like, for example, to me, in my perception, the dog and me are more alike than me and, say, a cow, because me and dogs both share the desire to eat cow. You know, it both, you know, a dog is as much a hunter-gatherer as much as, like, or wolves at least.
Wait, hang on.
As much hunter-gatherers.
Hang on, though. Hang on. Right. Just to be clear.
Yes.
Firstly, it was completely bullshitting. And I don't mean that in a mean way. You were bullshitting when you said, well, a dog doesn't have as much nutritional value as like a chicken or a cow.
I said I don't think.
Yeah,
which is different because I could be proven if I don't think, but I'm not claiming.
I'm pretty sure you said you just can't. I'm pretty sure. But say, for example, you would acknowledge if you did say that you cannot, because you cannot get as many nutrients out of a dog. That would be bullshitting, right? Because you don't know.
Well, as opposed to a cow's bigger.
No, because we weren't comparing it to a cow. In fact, we were literally comparing it to a chicken.
You're comparing it to a chicken.
Yeah. And if we're using that logic, Rottweilers...
I brought up cow, and that's why my brain went to cow. But compared to a dog to a chicken, like, yeah, of course, a dog is probably going to have more nutrients than a chicken, but probably not, I don't know if per ratio. I don't know the science on that.
Okay.
Like,
well, exactly.
Per ratio of, like, protein
that's the thing.
Per pound of flesh.
That's the point I was trying to make. It is bullshitting, and it's you know, it's interesting to know why that might have happened. But secondly, it doesn't really matter if a dog's more close in the sense of they share a specific desire. I don't think you measure it in that way. I don't think you would value a human more insofar as you would be quicker to kill them. If, say, for example, like if I shared your favorite game with you, I loved the same game you loved, would it suddenly then mean I have more moral value because we have that in common?
Yeah, sure.
Oh,
No,
so
I
no,
don't think so.
okay. But yeah, basically, we've already established anyway, like, even though you may have these distinctions, you did say beforehand there's no morally significant difference between
Right.
humans and other animals, right? You gave calculus, but then we understood that you wouldn't then say, okay, well, it's justified to farm humans who don't have the capacity to learn calculus or tell you about calculus, right? So there's no morally significant difference, yeah.
That has nothing to do with moral, and I don't think when I eat something I'm thinking of morality.
Well,
Because
can I
if
show?
I were to because to me, you can show me something.
Yeah.
But
Do you know how to make? Do you know how to make spoilers on here? Because I actually don't remember.
I think it's hang on.
I want to show you something, but I don't want everyone to be subjected to it. It's just a picture that I took, and I want to get your
like for
like a picture, yeah.
like a picture. I think when are you on your? I don't know. I'm on my
I'm
phone.
on my
but
I'm
I
on
think
my
if you
computer.
send a photo, I think if you like put the photo in your message and then you like, I don't know. Because there should be an option before you send the photo as like a mark as spoiler.
I won't bloody hang on. It might be too big a file because it was a. I took it. I'll just Joe, do you know how to make a spoiler on here of a picture? If you can hear me. Yeah, I don't want everyone to have to see it. Obviously it's discretion sort of thing. Oh, spoiler. There we go. I took this picture, right? Okay, and this is of a pig farm, and I live in an area where it's a free range pig farm. You can actually see them outside. And then we opened a bin, which actually shouldn't even be able to do. It's a biohazard. They should be locked. But lo and behold, I've been to a lot of farms and they don't really follow necessarily regulations. And inside I saw this. Can you see the picture?
I see the picture you sent, the one with all the dead pigs.
Yeah. So that's in a small farm, local farm, well accredited farm. Oh, thank you, Joe. And I'm gonna start showing people more actually of what I've seen, because it's really like quite difficult to, because I wish people, we could share experiences. And obviously it's much easier to justify the burger or the bit of bacon if you haven't seen the victims of the choices. Like these animals were victims, and they didn't even get consumed. They it doesn't really matter to me, right? I'm not looking at a victim and thinking if I can use their body, right? I don't do that with dogs. I don't know why I do that with a pig. But it's tragic that we don't actually understand the level of animals who are being exploited, and some of these actually had blunt force trauma. That's what it looked like. I don't know if you can see a couple of them, but this actually was the same farm where there was video footage of pigs being hit with rods on the head to kill them. And actually there are things
like
that
beaten
are
repeatedly.
Yeah, beaten to death. And there's actually things you can do with piglets. This is actually considered humane. You can thump them. Do you know what that is?
Like, I don't know, like smack them with the palm of your hand or something.
You can grab them by the back of the legs and you can just smash them on the pavement.
Oh my god.
And that's called thumping, and that's a way of dispatching, these animals. When I'd call that murder. I'd call that brutal murder. But that's humane, and that's what will happen if you objectify sentient beings.
To a baby pig.
Yep. And horrific things happen to baby pigs, like their teeth are pulled out, their tails are cut off, and these are all seen as humane methods because they actually get so overstimulated and have mental health problems as a result of their conditions, whereby they actually then start being aggressive to each other and biting each other. Similarly, if you put humans in the same sort of context, if you put them in prisons, if you put them in confinement of some sort, our mental health declines. It's the same for...
Right. That's why I don't believe in prison.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. If you don't believe in prison, even for those who have committed some wrongdoing, it would follow that you shouldn't believe in confining animals with the purpose of exploiting them and killing them to use them, because they've committed no offense. Yeah.
If they've done nothing to you, if they haven't like killed someone or something and aren't considered a danger, there isn't really a reason to lock them up and let them like rot away somewhere.
Mm-hmm. And you know what? It's messed up as well, because even, say, for example, when an animal does kill someone, we go out and hunt them down and kill them in a revenge act. But actually, the way I morally value non-human animals, because I can't really discuss with them societal contracts and rules and stuff, I then regard them morally as I would a human child. I can't tell a child, oh, don't do this. This will have this consequence. They can't understand. They aren't really... They're more of a moral patient in my view, in most instances. So I would regard them as such.
Animals that are violent and then humans go out to kill them in revenge?
Yeah, when someone gets killed by, I don't know, like a cow, the first thing people want to do, or a dog kills a human, then people want to go out and get revenge and kill that dog. And it's just like, well...
revenge is a very human thing.
it is, but would you... I draw a distinction between enacting revenge on some moral patient, like a human child or a pig, versus, an adult who is noted of sound mind, had capacity under a given capacity act, but they decided to violate the rights of someone else. Enacting revenge.
I will say one thing. If my kid was harmed by a dog or a person, I would probably treat them both equal in that regard.
That's weird if you don't believe in prisons.
I don't believe in a prison system because a lot of times people come out and say that was a waste of time and they end up doing crime again.
Oh, okay, I see. I understand.
There should either be a reformed system or a system where people are kept under watch. Okay. And people who commit mass murder should not... They probably shouldn't continue living.
Which is think about it, it's kind of wild, okay? Because I understand that view, because we've socially normalized the concept of not mass murdering humans. But actually, we will give money. Well, I won't. I'm vegan. We would. I would have given money to mass murderers who are funded by supermarkets or homesteaders. They're mass murderers. I watch people online. I react to them, who homestead animals like rabbits and chickens, and they show, oh, here's this cone I'm going to put them in. I put them upside down and I slit their throat and they bleed out. And they're just killing all these animals. They're mass murderers. Like, how else? Because obviously you understand there's no morally significant difference. So it's interesting how...
Obviously, and I guess depending, like, if you're in the countryside and you're eating a rabbit and you don't got no B12 supplements, I'm not going to consider you a murderer. That's just my point of view.
I mean, I still
have a lot of friends that I know hunt. A lot of people that I know have hunted and ask me to hunt with them.
Just to be clear, if you're out in the wild and you have no B12 supplements, would you think you wouldn't call someone a murderer if they killed the human to eat them?
No. I mean, if they were starving to death and had no B12 supplements.
So just okay. All right. Well,
in that scenario, it's eat or be eaten. That's the world you live in. If I'm in an island with someone,
you mean like the desert island sort of situation? Okay, I understand. Yeah, I get what you mean. That one's complicated. And
also, I'd like to rainforest. Like, if you're in a rainforest, you also don't know what you can and can't eat. So I'm more obliged to hunt something rather than pick. Like, it depends on.
You mean someone, right?
It depends on location.
It
depends on location, and it depends on a lot of factors.
You mean you'd rather hunt someone, like an animal?
If I was somewhere that I did not recognize. Yeah, sorry. Like, I'll just say, for example, I live in an area where there's a lot of rainforest, and I would probably be apprehensive to go into the rainforest with nothing to eat because nothing in the rainforest is there to eat. There's like a lot of berries and tree frogs and stuff, but trying to eat any of that would
Oh, hang
probably
on, hang
kill me
on.
immediately.
We've adjusted the hypothetical though, because in my view, like it's different if you didn't plan on it, but you ended up in an isolated situation. Is different from going to
Right.
choose to go to a situation. You've chosen that yourself to put yourself in danger. It's then not complicated for me. It's then, oh well, that's your problem. You chose to put yourself in harm's way. Why should someone else have their rights violated to sustain you when you made a silly decision that risked your life? But say if you were, if 30 of you were on a plane and you got stranded on a desert island, I like to think I wouldn't heavily judge someone who would then eat all the people to save their life. I think that's a different hypothetical.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I just want to say, look, it's been like an hour, and I'm happy that we've had this discussion. I hope it's been fruitful for you. If you ever want to look and take this 3 movies thing, you can see Dominion, you can see Situations. This was filmed in Australia, but if you look at the practices, people say, oh, that doesn't happen in my country. It's like actually the procedures that happen, like Australia, the UK, for example, are like the gold standard for like high welfare, and this is the standard. So, yeah, you can watch things like that, and you can take Challenge 22 there, where you can sign up and someone will help you specific to your area. Yeah. I would really recommend doing it because so far we haven't rendered an argument that would justify it. And obviously, if you are someone who is behaving in engaged in a contradiction every single day, it's just like, how can someone genuinely?
I for sure, I definitely don't justify the killing in mass production in factories.
There's a
where
contradiction.
Hundreds are killed all the time.
There's still a contradiction there.
Yes. Because I eat meat and I enjoy meat because I like the flavor of it. I understand that.
Hey, what was the contradiction?
The contradiction is that it's bad that I wouldn't support it if it was mass farmed, right? That's not what I support. But I even in the context of
it's
the
a
dog
contradiction, but we all live in contradictions because
hang on.
It's
we?
not a lot.
Wait.
What contradiction do I live in?
Yeah.
Yeah, can you render the contradiction I've presented in my behavior towards like?
No, I'm not saying I'm not saying what you're saying is. Wait,
yeah, that's the thing though. We all engage in contradictions, right? And hang on, let's be careful to distinguish. Like, say for example, I could say I do and don't hate video games, and I could behave as if I do and don't hate video games. I.e., I could play them one time and really enjoy them, or then I could just be like, oh, that's disgusting, that's trash, and shame everyone who plays them. I could do that. That would be a contradiction, but that's not going to entail rights violations or anything. So that might be a contradiction everyone on that level engages in, but to do something that would condemn you to farming human beings in your view, that's a serious contradiction, don't you think?
Farming human beings?
Yeah, we already before said that the view that you take, if held consistent, would mean that you would have to justify people farming humans who can't do calculus.
I don't justify farming humans as much as I don't justify farming cows.
It doesn't matter. You could value
at least in the same context.
Yeah, you could value humans more.
I value people, but they probably are their minds are probably thinking like, I'm going to die. So they're constantly living in fear.
Well, hang on. I don't even take it to be that just because someone knows they're going to die, they're more scared. In fact, intellectualization, from my understanding, can actually relieve pain and relieve fear in some instances. Because if you can actually explain something, it's like going to the doctor. If someone's like poking you with needles, but they won't tell you why and you don't get it, do you think you're going to maybe actually be more afraid than someone who can be like, oh, I'm just giving you a shot so that you don't get ill? Like, the animals have no idea what's going on a lot of the time until they get to a slaughterhouse and they can smell blood. And then they probably know that their life is in danger. They don't know what's going on, though. I'm actually convinced that that's probably worse. Because
And they don't know what's going on.
Well, yeah, because, like, I've worked in hospitals before. And, this is anecdotal. But the patients who lacked capacity, so they didn't know what was going on, or couldn't express that they knew what was going on, they seemed much more afraid or to be having a negative experience much more than patients who knew what was going on, who were of capacity.
Right.
That's what concerns me, because then I'm like, oh, if when you take a dog to the vet, you can't tell them they're going to the doctor. So they're panting and they're stressed and they're fighting. How many dogs do that? Because you can't tell them. And I'm sure I've said this a lot of the time. It's really upsetting that I can't just tell, an animal, oh, you're just going to the vet, So they wouldn't feel as bad.
Right.
I think we understand that, actually.
Do you have pets?
No, I don't. I have a I'm just thinking of like a few weeks ago, my family dog, she was taken to the vet to have her teeth taken out. And she was so stressed, she threw up, horrible. And I just thought, oh, it's so sad that we can't just tell her, look, you just need your teeth taken out because your breath smells bad.
Right.
And your teeth are rotting. So that's what made me think of it. But basically, the point is you could value a human more than you do a dog or a cow. But it doesn't matter. You value them all insofar as you wouldn't condemn them to that.
But I think from a natural perspective, not really perspective, but like from my biological nature, I'm more inclined to care for like a human child as opposed to any other type of child. But doesn't mean I wouldn't help.
Yeah, that might be the case, but no vegan is asking you, look, you have to pick between a human or a non-human animal. We're asking you not to pay for their rights violations.
Mm-hmm.
You don't need to then sacrifice some sort of like human children or something.
Do you
I care about my kids more than some randos kids, but that doesn't justify me stabbing those kids to death for a cheeseburger.
Yeah.
Oh. Do you consider it more or less or just as moral or immoral to hunt as opposed to putting putting animals in like a system?
Yeah, I mean, I just put it in the human context if I want to make sense of it. So say for example, I'm playing the Hunger Games or something, but the participants don't know they're participants. They don't know that they've been turned into tributes. So it's all trait adjusted.
Right.
Instead of a reindeer or a bear or an elk.
Yes.
Yeah, I'll answer the question.
My moral justification. Sorry, you go.
Yeah. So put a human in that context of the elk or the deer versus putting them trait adjusted in a situation where they're farmed for like a few months and then taken to a slaughterhouse. I think that you're going to generate more harm and there'll be less well-being in that system where they're farmed, the human. But the human hunting is still going to be awful. So I would condemn both. And you should condemn both if you see no morally significant difference between humans and other animals. Otherwise, your view would then affirm human hunting to be ethical.
Well, that's called war. That human hunting is called war.
So wait, do you think it's justified to hunt civilians, for example?
Not civilians. No.
Okay, so soldiers.
Wait.
So when did
The trade adjustment. Wait, the trade adjustment with the elk would be shooting a human in the heart and then eating them.
yeah.
Do
So-
we ever do that in war? Maybe it's happened in like the past, but
Maybe.
Yeah, so what your view
But-
would be, it would be more, it wouldn't be some sort of soldier versus soldier who's then, become part of an army. It would be, a civilian who you shoot in the heart and kill and eat. That would be the trait adjustment. And you would then affirm that that would be ethical in your view.
Depends.
Wait,
I think if I had to choose a world where people hunted on their own as opposed to a group of people killing thousands of creatures and giving it to the rest of the world, I'd probably live in the first one.
okay, yeah, but we're not presented with those two dichotomies. That
Yes,
dichotomy,
but
we're presented.
I have more of a moral. I feel like I have a stronger argument for hunting as opposed to obviously keeping people up in keeping animals up in like some sort of animal concentration camp.
Well, this is the thing, though. I don't know why we're having this conversation, though, because, say, for example, I told you, right, if I had a human farm versus human hunting, I think the human farm would probably be worse for the human. However, I wouldn't make an argument for why human hunting is preferable. I take them both to be wrong. So if I'm telling you, we've
But
had
at
this
least people
conversation.
will die from human hunting as opposed to like if people were forced to populate just to be eaten instead of people being grown naturally and then being hunted later.
Yeah, but you take both to be wrong, right? And you don't want to make justifications for them, correct? Please don't do this, okay? I'm gonna lose respect real quickly if you're gonna.
I take both kind of wrong. I
What do you
take
mean
one more wrong.
Dude.
But
wait,
okay,
I get a gun and I go out and shoot a kid, and then eat them. That's just like
That's kind of wrong.
maybe
just
wrong.
Kind of, yeah, just
Kind of wrong.
Come on, Edge.
No, because it's a kid.
Oh wait.
Well, the animals
what?
that you eat are all children.
Children.
They're all like babies.
Yeah. If we're trait adjusting
I don't.
it.
Well, if I
Yes.
would
Yes.
Yeah.
I choose not. If I knew I was eating a child, I would choose probably not to eat it.
Then go vegan.
Then go vegan. Yeah. If you look at how
know.
If you look at the natural lifespan of these animals versus when they're sent to the slaughterhouse,
I'm not looking at lifespan. I'm looking at like when they become adolescent.
Okay, but hang on though. when does a pig reach maturity?
I have no idea.
When are they sent to the slaughterhouse? Because by the way, they're sent to the slaughterhouse at 6 months old, maximum.
Okay. Are they sent to die at 6 months old?
Yeah, to the gas chamber
at
typically.
6 months old.
Gas chamber.
Okay.
And with
Yeah.
chickens 6 weeks.
They just have to reach slaughter weight.
Because
Otherwise, it's a waste. It's a waste of money.
For a second. I believe what you're saying, but I don't believe for a second that this is happening all the time everywhere. I don't think that everyone
dude.
eating a
Just
burger
starts
that is
losing
like
money.
3 months old.
Dude,
Once they
Because
reach slaughter weight,
in my
the farm just
family-
starts losing money after that. Otherwise, they send them to the slaughterhouse as soon as they reach slaughter weight. Otherwise, they're just wasting money feeding them.
And that's why
As
I don't
soon
like
as they're
eating
profitable-
from the market. If I'm presented with food, I eat it. But like my family, for every Christmas, instead,
Dude, you're
like,
not gonna find
when
a farmer that keeps animals past slaughter weight. Just not part of this. It's not how it works.
Okay, well then how? So a 6-month-old pig is like what, the size of a table?
yeah, we
size
talked
of
earlier.
me?
We talked earlier, right,
They
about
grow quick,
selective
right?
selective breeding. Yeah, they've been selectively bred. So like broiler chickens, yeah, they're killed between 6 and 10 weeks, right? They have been selectively bred to be. You're echoing me. Sorry.
Sorry, hang on.
Yes, fine. They've been selectively bred to be 3 times larger than their ancestors. So that we've basically, as a species, selectively bred them so we can kill them as quickly as possible. So they're of infancy, the majority. And who is more exploited than any other animal? Mainly chickens. They, in numbers, chickens and pigs are killed, for their flesh to be consumed very commonly. And yes, you can look it up. They're killed. You can look at industry websites. They'll tell you the age that they're ready for slaughter. They're essentially children. But look, it's now been over an hour, edgelord. Basically, I don't know if you're going to digest it at this point, because we've already gone through like how there's no morally significant difference between humans and other animals, and now you're saying that human hunting could be kind of wrong, like hunting civilians to kill them and eat them.
I didn't say hunting civilians.
Yeah,
I
I
think
asked. Wait,
that's
Joe.
a very different conversation.
Joe, can you just reaffirm? Didn't I ask, because we trait adjusted it to civilians who you'd shoot in the heart and then eat, and then you said it was kind of wrong.
I
I
believe
swear to you, that's what you said.
Well,
and I even repeated, because I was like, I'm gonna lose respect if you say yeah.
If I say that eating people is wrong,
well, let's just be clear. Do you think it would be morally justified to go out and hunt humans who they're not part of any war or anything, they're just out in the woods? Do you think it would be justified to shoot them in the heart so that you can eat their body? Yes or no?
No.
No. Okay.
What are they doing?
Nothing. They're just
Yeah,
like.
so what's the morally significant difference between that human and an elk that would justify the asymmetrical treatment?
An elk. An elk has more protein. But that's not a moral standpoint.
Yeah. Let's not do this.
That's an objective one.
Well, no, we're just.
So the amount of protein a being has justifies shooting them in the heart for needless stuff?
I think anything not being a human justifies it for a human to eat it.
So
Humans being intrinsically cannibals.
Edgelord.
Just to be clear,
Joe, hang on.
What has more?
Hang on. We're not.
Go ahead.
We're not doing this, edgelord. I don't know why you are like reverting. You were actually more vegan at the beginning of this conversation, right? You were closer because you acknowledged.
No. Because here's the thing. Don't interrupt. I have limitations to what I can withstand in terms of the obviously I do not like hunting and eating anything that is suffering in a fucking cage somewhere like Auschwitz. Like, I don't like that shit because I think that's disgusting. I think putting people in fucking concentration camps is just as bad.
Hang on. No, stop. Because I've tried to tell you I need to leave. Okay, we've got limited time. It's been over an hour. I just want to check quickly, because you do this where I've asked you a question, you go off on something else. Say, for example, you could selectively breed a dog with as much protein in as like 3 chickens, okay, per pound. Would it be justified for me to farm them and kill them really quickly so I could eat their flesh?
You can justify it as much as you can justify killing anything else in reality. But I don't try to look for justifications or moral justifications for anything.
Edgelord, would it be justified in your view to do it?
In my worldview to do it?
Yes. What I've been asking for this entire time.
I would not care if someone ate a dog. I just wouldn't do it. That's my standpoint.
In your view, when you say you don't care, do you mean it's morally justified?
No, I'm saying I'm not going to stop someone.
I'm not asking Edgelord. Right, I'm ending the conversation with you because you don't answer questions. Because it's really frustrating. I asked you.
I'll answer it.
Is it justified morally in your view? I'm not asking you if you'd stop it. I'm not asking you if you'd care. No. Okay. So
do you think it's morally justified to hunt quail, like wild birds?
I don't think it's morally justified to kill anything. I don't think you should have a moral justification to kill anything. We're animals. We should kill if we want to. But if you kill another human being, you're going to get the punishment for killing another human being.
Right. I actually, Edgelord, I actually can't with you. We had this discussion about the legal distinction beforehand. You would not justify cannibalism, would you? Because that's what humans would do out in nature, because that's what other animals do. I won't
justify it as much as I don't justify cannibalism in other animals.
That's not what you're being. I'm done. Cheers.